I was looking back yesterday at some of the industry forecasts from, 3 or 4 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
back when everything was still in that post-pandemic boom, and the tone was just manic.
Completely. It was all over the
It
place.
was this weird mix of the supply chain is collapsing, buy everything now, or this, breathless hype about how everyone was going to become a homesteader.
Yeah, gardening was going to save the
The
world.
whole industry felt like it was running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
But looking at the data we have for the 2026 Canadian garden retail outlook, the vibe is it's just completely shifted.
It really has. It's so much calmer. It's less about survival or that kind of explosive, unsustainable growth, and more about, I don't know, traction. That's the word that keeps coming to mind.
Traction is the perfect word. It feels like the ground has finally stopped moving. And that, brings us to our theme today, green shoots and systems.
Mm.
Because the data suggests the market is steady, which is great, don't get me wrong, but there's a catch. In a steady market, you can't rely on panic buying anymore.
No, that's the critical distinction. When the market was chaotic, sometimes you won just by having inventory.
Right, if you were the only place with patio furniture, you won.
You won. You didn't even have to be good. You just had to be there.
Ah.
But in 2026, with things stabilizing, the competitive advantage shifts. It moves entirely to execution, to systems.
So our mission for this deep dive is, I think, pretty clear. We're going to skip the generic gardening is good fluff.
Please.
We want to look at the hard numbers, the anchors, and translate those into actual strategy. We'll break down the consumer psychology of selling outcomes, which is fascinating. And then we have to talk about the unsexy part of the business,
The tech.
the technology infrastructure that keeps a garden center from completely melting down in May.
Which is, I mean, that's where your profit margin lives or dies. You can sell $1 million in product, but if your back end's a mess, you might not keep any of it.
Exactly. So let's start with that landscape, the macro view. We've got some fresh numbers for the Canadian market. What's the headline here?
The headline is that the production engine is running hot. So if we look upstream, greenhouses, nurseries, sod, all of it, total sales hit $6.0 billion in 2024.
Wow. Okay.
That's up from $5.5 billion the year before. That's a $500 million jump.
That's a big jump. That's not a rounding error. That's real growth. And digging in, it looks like greenhouses are doing most of the heavy lifting.
They are. Greenhouse products made up $5.0 billion of that total. So what, about 83% of the whole sector?
Okay.
But I don't want to gloss over the nursery side. That's where your trees, your shrubs, the foundation of the garden comes from. Nursery sales and resales were just under $800 million, 796.1 million to be exact, and that was up almost 4% year over year.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. If I'm a retailer listening to this, why do I care that growers are having a great year? Does that actually help me, or does it just mean my costs are going up?
No, it helps you immensely, but in a way that's kind of easy to miss. It proves supported demand.
Supported demand. Unpack that.
A few years ago, we had huge retail demand, but a broken supply chain. You couldn't get stock.
Oh, I remember. Customers waving money and shelves were empty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we're seeing for 2026 is a healthy upstream engine. The growers are strong, production is up, and that means retailers face way less risk of a supply chain collapse.
So practically, you're not going to have those, chronic gaps in core items. You aren't spending your Tuesday frantically calling 5 growers for 4-inch petunias.
Precisely. And that changes how you manage. It gives you the freedom to actually be a retailer. When you're not spending 40% of your week just fighting to get product, you can spend that time on merchandising. You can try a new product line.
That's a huge psychological shift for an owner. You move from playing defense to offense.
Okay, so let's look at the sandbox, the retail side. We're using the NAICS code 44422, right? For nursery and garden stores.
That's the one. The estimate for retail revenue in 2025 is sitting at about $9.4 billion.
$9.4 billion. That is a serious number. That is a lot of petunias. It is. And to give you some scale, we're talking about roughly 1,672 businesses employing around 24,000 people. But I want to pause on that employment number because it highlights a massive constraint. Do the math. 24,000 employees, over 1,672 businesses. That's an average of about 14 employees per location.
Wow. And anyone who's worked a May-long weekend knows that is not a lot of people. That feels incredibly tight.
It's razor thin. So you've got this $9.4 billion opportunity, but you're trying to capture it with a very lean workforce. This just proves that efficiency isn't a buzzword. It's the only way you survive without burning out your entire staff by June 1st.
You can't just throw more bodies at the problem.
You don't have them. You need a system.
Okay, foundation is solid, production's there, market's huge, but labor is tight. Let's pivot to the customer. Who's walking in the doors in 2026? I'm seeing a really interesting stat here on ornamental horticulture.
This is one of my favorite indicators. The ornamental sector, so plants we buy just because they look good not to eat, hit $3.24 billion. That's up 6.6%.
See, to me, that just screams lifestyle. When you buy ornamentals, you aren't panic buying potatoes for the apocalypse.
Right.
You're buying a vibe. You're decorating your life.
That is a great way to put it. It's a lifestyle upgrade.
Yeah.
And for the retailer, this is huge because ornamental strength supports higher margins.
For sure.
You don't make your year selling bags of manure. The margin just isn't there. You make it on the premium planters, the giftable items, those impulse buys at the register. This data tells us the consumer is willing to pay for beauty right now.
And this connects to a major trend we saw. Outdoor living as a doable project. We have to talk about the housing market here.
Right. The elephant in the room. It's a weird market. People aren't moving as much. They're locking in. And when you stay put, you upgrade.
You invest in what you have.
You invest in what you have. But, and this is the key shift, they aren't looking for ingredients anymore.
What do you mean ingredients?
In the past, the garden center model was basically a warehouse of parts. Here's a pallet of soil, a rack of pots, rows of plants. Good luck.
Right. Hope you know how to cook.
They were selling ingredients and expecting the customer to be the chef.
And if you don't know what you're doing, that's incredibly intimidating. I've walked into garden centers, looked at 50 different fertilizers, bloom boosters, root stimulators, and just walked out because I was afraid I'd kill my plants.
Exactly. And you're not alone. The trend for 2026 is selling the outcome. Don't sell the raw plant. Sell a front porch look in 30 minutes.
Or a pollinator-friendly bundle?
Yes. Or a lawn repair system. You solve the problem. You don't just supply the parts. It sounds simple, but it's a whole different way to merchandise. You have to group this stuff together. You do the thinking for the customer.
It just removes the friction. Right. If I see a green lawn kit with the seed, the feed, the instructions all in one box, I buy it. I'm not comparing prices on individual components. I'm paying for the solution, for confidence.
And that ties right into the second big trend, the convenience factor. Home improvement has shifted toward immediate gratification. And think about it. What offers a faster visual result than garden retail?
That's so true. You can paint a room, but that's a whole weekend. It's a hassle.
Right. But you can plant a massive hanging basket by your front door in 5 minutes, and the curb appeal of your house changes instantly.
It's the dopamine hit of home improvement.
It is. So the goal for the retailer is to make that dopamine hit automatic.
As fast as possible.
Make the basket automatic. Don't make the customer walk to 3 corners of the store, the soil corner, the pot corner, the plant corner, to build that solution. Bundle it. Make it grab and go.
I love that. But here it comes, the reality check.
Uh-oh.
We can sit here and talk about curating outcomes all day, but we have to face what happens when that first warm Saturday hits in May.
The stress test.
The stress test.
Yeah.
Because you can have the best pollinator bundle in the world, but if your checkout line is 40 minutes long or your inventory count is wrong,
you're dead in the water. This is the execution gap. It's where generic retail operations just break. Garden centers are unique pressure cookers. You've got high volume in a short window, you have weather volatility, and you have live goods that will literally die.
Let's be honest about the failure modes. We've all seen them. Inventory accuracy just collapses. The computer says you have 10 bags of soil. The shelf is empty.
Or the receiving dock falls behind. The truck arrives, but everyone's at the registers, so you have thousands of dollars of inventory just sitting on a cart, unpriced and unsellable.
And the checkout lines. That friction is a killer. I've seen people abandon full carts and just walk out.
It happens all the time. Or the staff are just answering the same 5 questions over and over. Where's the potting mix? How much is this? Instead of actually selling.
And we can't forget emotional markdowns.
Oh, the silent killer of profitability. A class.
Explain that one.
It's when you discount based on panic. Maybe it rains for 3 weekends in a row. You panic. You look at all this inventory and you slash prices to get cash flow. But then the sun comes out, demand spikes, and you've just given away 20% of your margin on stuff you could have sold at full price.
Or the opposite, right? Holding on to a loser product for too long because you feel like it'll sell until you just have to compost it.
Yeah, exactly. You discount too late or too early, all because you're guessing.
So this brings us to the systems part of our title. We've seen the green shoots, The demand is there. Now we need the trellis to hold it all up. And this is where we have to talk about Axio Retail Solutions.
Right. Specifically, their smart vendor
I
POS.
know what some listeners are thinking. A POS system,
Yeah,
really?
that's the magic bullet.
We tend to think of it as just the calculator at the front. But looking at the specs for Axio, it seems like they're tackling these very specific garden-centric headaches.
It's about fit. Generic tech fails in garden centers because it assumes you're selling T-shirts in a mall. A T-shirt doesn't need watering. It doesn't die. Axio is built for the reality of dirt, water, and seasonality.
Okay, let's break down the features that solve that execution gap. First, real-time inventory and multi-location control. Why is this so important?
Speed. In a short season, speed is everything.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell bundles, you need to know you have the core items. If you run out of that specific pot, the bundle is dead.
Right.
You need to see what's available to rebuy before you lose the sale. And if you have multiple locations, you need to see stock across all of them instantly. Smart Vendor centralizes the brain of the whole operation.
So you're not flying blind. And then the data side. We talked about emotional markdowns. Axio has seasonal trend analysis.
This is how you stop guessing. Smart Vendor lets you spot what's accelerating early. If that front porch bundle is flying off the shelves in week 2, the data tells you to reorder now.
Before the grower runs out.
Exactly. You beat the competition. And conversely, if something isn't moving, the data tells you that too. You can make a disciplined markdown while the product is still viable, not when it's sad and brown. You're using math, not the weather report.
Here's the feature that really stood out to me. Reliability. Because we've all been there. Biggest Saturday of the year. And the internet goes down.
The nightmare scenario. In a cloud-based world, it's a huge vulnerability.
Yeah.
Most systems just stop. You literally cannot take people's money.
It's catastrophic.
It is. Axio has a feature called Smart Transactor, which is basically a rock-solid offline mode. If the internet dies, you keep selling. The lines keep moving. The business continues.
That's crucial. You can't tell a customer with a full cart to wait for the router to reset.
No, they will leave.
Yeah.
And they won't come back. They also do daily online backups so your data is safe, but your operation is resilient. You're not fragile.
Okay, what about customer retention? Axio has loyalty and gift cards. How does that help in a steady market?
It smooths out the curve. You want to turn that one-time seasonal spike into a habit. If you have a loyalty program like buy 10 bags of soil, get one free bow, you're locking that customer in. They're not going to the big box store for their next batch.
And the system manages that automatically.
Right. It speeds up checkout. The system says, hey, you earned a free bag. Boom, it's done. No calculators, no manager overrides. The line keeps moving.
And finally, omni-channel, because people are looking online first.
Yes, support for BOPIs, buy online, pick up in-store and integrations with Shopify or WooCommerce. It connects the digital browsing to the physical buying.
Okay, let's zoom out. 2026 is a positive market, but a demanding one. Let's consolidate this into some winning moves for anyone listening.
Let's do it. Move number 1, sell projects, not items. Stop selling ingredients. Bundle the soil, the plant, the pot. Make it impossible to leave with an incomplete solution.
I love that. Move number 2, make success simple.
Confidence at the shelf? Use signage. Right plant, right place. If the customer feels confident they won't kill it, they'll buy it.
Move 3, run lean.
Tighten your assortments. Focus on what actually turns. Don't carry inventory just for variety if it's not moving.
And number 4, use the POS as an advantage.
Stop guessing. Use the data from a system like Axio to reorder. Let the system handle the math so you can handle the customers.
So to wrap this up, 2026 looks like a positive story. Strong production, growing ornamental sales, a massive $9.4 billion retail opportunity.
But the final takeaway is this. Steady years reward disciplined operators. Success isn't magic. It's not about finding some rare unicorn plant that goes viral. It is systems.
It's being ready for the rush. So if you are running a nursery or garden center and you feel that execution gap we talked about, if you're dreading May instead of looking forward to it, Axio Smart Vendor is the tool built for your reality. You can give them a call for sales or support at 888-353-5888.
It's worth the call.
That's 888-353-5888. And I want to leave you with this one thought. We live in a world that's obsessed with what's new. But when the chaos of spring hits and the trucks are backing up and the line is out the door, the biggest competitive advantage might just be the ability to be boringly reliable.
Boringly reliable. I like that.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.